Joining me right now is Wyoming Senator John Barrasso. He is the third ranking member in the Senate Republican leadership, and we're happy to have him this morning. Senator, thanks very much for being here. You heard what Joe Biden just said. It's the Republicans' fault. Get out of the way so that they could do their job. Your response?
What we're seeing here is an incredibly shrinking president of the United States who wants to blame everybody for everything instead of the man in the mirror. I'll tell you. He blamed the generals for Afghanistan. He blames our Border Patrol for the crisis at the border. He blames the general population for COVID. We have a president who is facing roaring flames all around him politically in terms of COVID, the border, inflation. And I'll tell you, people around this country are fed up, and people don't believe he is up to the job.
Yeah, people are fed up. I agree with that. We've got crises at every other corner, whether it be the inflation that's out of control, the jobs numbers were underwhelming, the crisis in Afghanistan, the crisis at the border. And yet Mitch McConnell agreed to join the Democrats in raising the debt ceiling, passing that bill in the Senate. Did Mitch McConnell cave?
No, not at all. We were able to force the Democrats to do two things they absolutely did not want to do. One is, as you know, they wanted a blank check. They wanted to be able to raise the debt ceiling all the way through the 2022 elections to spend as much as they want. That undermines the accountability that they owe the American people, that all of us owe the American people. So, number one, they did not get a blank check. We made them fill in a number, and it's the first time that's happened in over a decade. And Maria, the number that they filled in was a small number compared to the amount that they're asking for in this $5 trillion big government socialism bill. So I think actually it's going to make it a lot harder for them to pass this reckless tax and spending bill.
I want to ask you, I want to talk about that spending bill. But first, let me get your reaction to what happened when Chuck Schumer pretty much blasted the Republicans on the Senate floor the other day. We could visibly see Joe Manchin in the background putting his head in his hands and then walking out. I mean, the Democrats did not really need the Republicans' help. They could have raised the debt ceiling on their own. And even after you came across the aisle, came up with this deal, Chuck Schumer said this. Let's take a listen.
Leader McConnell and Senate Republicans insisted they wanted a solution to the debt ceiling, but said Democrats must raise it alone by going through a drawn-out, convoluted, and risky reconciliation process. That was simply unacceptable to my caucus.
Your reaction, Joe Manchin there in the backdrop, putting his head in his hands, Senator.
Well, you're absolutely right. It was a tantrum by Chuck Schumer, and he is known to be a bully. He loves to bully even his own caucus. And just looking at Joe Manchin, how disturbed he was by what happened. A number of Democrats came up to me, including calling me over the weekend to apologize for the terrible behavior of Chuck Schumer. And we've made it clear they want to use this process of reconciliation to pass their massive tax and spending bill. Well, they're going to have to use that process as well if they ever want to raise the debt ceiling again.
So what do you think? Do you think they will get something through? I know Senator Manchin has said that he would be agreeable to something capped at $1.5 trillion. You've made an important point recently that it's not just the cost, it's what's in it. So talk to us about whether you believe Manchin and Sinema will hold up and not agree to anything substantial in terms of beyond $1.5, not that $1.5 trillion is not substantial, and what's in the plan?
Yeah. Well, as you last week showed the picture of me holding up this massive bill,
yes.
2,500 pages, $1.4 billion per page. And to me, there are a couple of different parts of it. One is this just massive expansion of government's role in our life. Cradle to grave, sun up to sundown, and all night long, government is going to be more involved, sending out money, often to people who don't even need it. It's a complete takeover and massive spending to a level that we've never seen before. That's about 1/3 of it. The next part is the massive taxes that they need to pay for it. And we're talking about 40 different taxes, including all of this extra money for the IRS. And Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, wants to use it to hire an army of IRS agents to spy on Americans' checking accounts. banking accounts. And then the third part is the real attack on American energy, which is going to make energy costs go up harder and more expensive to drive your car, to heat your home. And here we are on a day when energy prices today at the pump are the highest they've been in 7 years. You ask specifically about, go ahead.
No, please continue, sir.
You asked, is it going to make it easier or harder to pass it? Remember, Maria, they wanted to get this done last summer. I was on with you in June, and I said, well, if they do, it's going to be a long, hot summer. Now they're hoping to get it done by November. They're entering their winter of discontent. They have a long way to go.
So I want to ask you about energy, but before I get there, real quick on these big federal programs that you've discussed, what kind of free money is going to be coming to people? I know there's major, child care support, there's elder support, a free community college. Go through some of those programs that once they're in place, isn't it true that they don't go away after a year?
Well, that's actually the absolute bottom line of what we're looking at here. And in a way to try to lower the price tag, they're saying, well, we'll just start them small and let them grow over time. You and I know, Maria, once you get a federal government program in place, it's very hard for it to ever go away. So everything you mentioned is in there. The question is, how much are they going to start funding? But their goal is a complete takeover of the lives of the American people, which is why I call it big government socialism, and it is an expansion of government and an addiction to government like we have never even contemplated or seen before. And Joe Biden has surrendered to this socialist wing of the party, even to the point of holding hostage bridges, ports, airports, highways, things that the American people actually want.
Yeah, so just to be clear, they will not agree to an infrastructure package unless the reconciliation goes through, right? It's dead, even though it was agreed upon. 19 Republicans agreed. And you mentioned energy. We're already feeling inflation, Senator. This is important, energy-rich state of Wyoming, and its importance to you. Let's take a look at the price of oil and energy, for example. Give us the impact real quick.
Well, today people are paying more for gas at the pump than they have over the last 7 years, about $1.25 more per gallon. That's about $30 a fill up, and that is taking a big bite out of people's paychecks. And the people most hurt, of course, are people on a fixed income, seniors, young couples and families trying to get by. And it's all because of Joe Biden's policies. First day in office, killing the Keystone XL pipeline, blocking oil and gas leases. But the problem about this, it's only American energy he's attacking. He has now asked Saudi Arabia, OPEC, and even Russia to pump more oil to sell it to us. Look, we used to be energy dominant. Under Biden, we're energy dependent. And there's a lot more value and smarter for our country to make the energy and sell it to our friends than having to buy it, Maria, from our enemies.
Well, Senator, I question that infrastructure package because there wasn't a dime allocated to the border. In fact, we understand that the Department of Homeland Security has now canceled all remaining border wall construction contracts. So we'll be getting into that later on in this program. We so appreciate you this morning, Senator. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.